Well, good morning. You're very kind. Coming out this morning, you could be lying down, basking in the sun. It's a beautiful day. I understand it's changing a bit tonight, but thank you so much, seriously, for coming out. Talking to an empty hall this size would be a bit of a drag, but you've kindly came and listened. Very worthy people. Just a little reminder about our conference coming up in July. Effective Parents, Positive Teens would love to have you join us. And if you don't know of anybody, or if you can't personally be there, but you know of somebody who'd benefit from this conference, please let them know. We've got some applications form available at the ABC. At the end of today's presentation too, there will be some handouts. I'm sorry, we're a bit limited, but there will be some handouts when the ABC opens, just as a summary of today. But thank you to Daniela Trakov, our pastor. Erna Johnson, the Women's Ministries Director for the South Pacific Division. We share a secretary together, and she's beside me in the office at the division, and she's just a delightful lady. And I know she'd want me to thank Daniela. Daniela, on behalf of Erna, thank you for your ministry to women here in the Victorian Conference and to your team. Thank you very much. Would you thank Daniela? My mum was a woman, and I kind of wouldn't be here without her. I also want to thank Judy and Cheryl and the team who care for the singles. Thank you, Jude and Cheryl. I really admire what you do. You know, as us as marrieds, we can sometimes forget, or we don't understand how it is to be single. It can be tough. And simply being single doesn't mean failure. Some kind of being less than whole. And as a church community, we do well to love well, to be inclusive, not exclusive. And just because a single person arrives alone doesn't mean they wish to be left alone. When they come to church, they want to be involved. And many singles share with me their sadness and disappointment when they feel as if they aren't loved and can't belong. And being single isn't bad, being treated as one is. And I think we need to tuck them under our... Why don't we declare today, here at Victorian Camp, National Singles Day. Follow Scripture. If you see somebody single, greet them with a holy kiss. If you're not sure how that differs to an ordinary kiss, don't come and ask me because I don't know either. Greet them somehow, let them know you love them and care for them. Don't help them, don't fix them, just serve them as equals. They're very special people. Today we've hang on, we'll switch that on. Today we've titled our presentation The Very Best Gift. Eric Byrne was a psychologist for quite a few years ago, and he came up with the concept of a stroke, and he said a stroke is when our existence is recognised. Now, as you've come in this morning, all of you got a stroke. Someone said, howdy, morning, g'day. They recognised you. They acknowledged that you exist. They hugged you maybe, gave you a kiss, shook your hand. They did something, waved, nodded, morning. Lovely. We all love to be acknowledged. And as we said the other day, it's better to be loved than kicked, but it's better to be kicked than ignored because we don't like to be ignored. Doesn't feel good. And sometimes we think we're not saying anything, we're not giving a stroke to someone when we walk past and they expect us to acknowledge them and we don't, but we are. We're giving them a loud acknowledgement. We're giving them a loud stroke. And so the term is when it's a stroke when we acknowledge someone's existence. Well, what he said then is, of course, is that there are positive strokes and negative strokes. And a positive stroke makes us feel good. Morning. Hello. Howdy. Makes us feel good. A negative stroke, of course, makes us feel bad. That we don't feel good when someone walks past and we expect them to acknowledge us and we don't, or if they frown. My wife and I, Carol and I, were driving in Brisbane at Christmas time. And there must have been someone in a car because I came round this corner where there were several lanes and I was quite convinced that I stayed inside my lane, but he must have thought otherwise. And he must know Eric Byrne because he decided to give me a negative stroke. And what he did, he lowered his window and extended his right finger of fellowship to me. But it must have been damaged at work because it wouldn't bend, you know. And then he swore at me in terms that I didn't learn, I didn't learn as a child. I wasn't allowed to use those words, but he felt okay about using them for about 3 kilometres. He just extended his... I didn't feel good. See, positive strokes make us feel good, negative strokes make us feel bad. And then Eric Byrne added something else. He said, you can have conditional and unconditional stroke. A conditional stroke is, I like you when. And we add the word when or if. I like you when you wear your hair like that. I like it when you do that for me. It's kind of condition. Unconditional is, I like you. You're the best. No conditions attached. Which would be the most powerful? Well, surprisingly, sometimes negative strokes. In fact, we've been sharing in our workshop the work of John Gottman. He discovered that we need 5 positive strokes, if you like, to outweigh 1 negative. So negative can be very powerful, but positive strokes, our kids and our families and we thrive on positive strokes. Let me ask you, where would you and I find the most powerful, positive, unconditional stroke? Jesus when he died on the cross, right? No conditions attached. Father, forgive them, they don't know what they do. And when Jesus died on the cross, here's the first part of the good news. Jesus didn't say, I'm finished. He said, it is finished. If he said, I'm finished, so are you and I. He said, it's finished. Everything I've come to do, done. Everything I came to do for your salvation, finished, complete. It's finished. Fabulous. And here's the second part of the good news, because the gospel's good news, not good advice. Always remember that. The gospel, euangelion, the Greek word, it means the bearer of good tidings. But it came to mean the good tidings itself. It's good news. Good advice suggests it's something you and I should do. Good news, it's already done. It's finished. When Jesus died on the cross, he said it's finished. And the second part of the good news, it's free. Isn't that neat? We can't pay for it. We don't earn it. If my friend Ken comes here and says, Traff, here's a gift for you. I don't say, just one sec, Ken, I'll get my wallet out and pay for it. It's no longer a gift, it's a bargain, it's a contract. Okay, if Carol brings me a gift, just can't see for a moment, I need to remind her it's time she did. I don't say, thank you, Dale. That would be what, about 3 lawnmowers and 5 meals in bed? Okay, which, it's a gift, it's free. I want you to finish this text for me. You know it so well. For God so loved the world that he... Finish with me. For God so loved the world that he gave... Stop. Let's do it again. For God so loved the world that he gave his... Stop. For God so loved the world that he... Stop. Yeah. We keep saying the verse and we don't stop at the right word. For God so loved the world that he gave. The wages of sin is death, but the gift. And when you get a gift... As soon as you try to buy or earn, it's no longer a gift. It ceases to be a gift. You can only do certain things with a gift. Remember, being at a home, I'm not sure why, but there were 3 little boys and Mum and Dad. And it was Mum's birthday. And these 3 little boys had prepared a gift for Mum, and the sticky tape was everywhere, and the paper was all kind of cut crooked, and it was stuck, and it was kind of cute, and a little card on the handwritten card on the top. And they come, and they bring this gift and put it on the table. You can just see them busting with pride. They've done this gift for Mum. And Dad's standing there kind of looking cool. And Mum comes out. And I don't know why, but just when the boys say, happy birthday, Mum, Mum turns and says, oh, I think someone's left the door open. And walks over and shuts the door and walks back. And I watched the boys' faces. It was like a balloon and someone had put a pin in the balloon. And Dad's eyes just rolled. And that very special moment was lost. She was given a gift, but she didn't know how to receive it well. And sometimes you and I can give gifts, but do we receive them well? When someone says, honey, you look beautiful today, do we say, oh yes, so what do you want now? Honey, you look gorgeous. Oh, pull the other leg, it plays bark. No. Serious. Do we know how to receive a gift well? We need to receive a gift well. I want to suggest to you there are a number of ways we can receive a gift. Imagine for a moment it's Carol's birthday. And it's difficult to know what to buy a wife when she has everything. She's got me. Well, that's worth a lot of gifts to compensate. I guess another pair of shoes would be good. I mean, she's only got 36. I mean, seriously. And then I know, every time we have lunch, we have guests for lunch, I set the table beautifully, everything nice and straight, best cutlery, best crockery, placemats. And I'll get the meal. I'll heat up the soup she made out of the freezer, put it in the thing. And she makes the drink, and she brings out the drink in this plastic jug. Serious, you should see this plastic jug. The only proper place for this plastic jug is in the garage, filling the lawnmower with fuel. And even then you'd have to apologise to the lawnmower. It's one of those freebies you get at a Tupperware show, you know. And it looks like it. It's embarrassing. So I say, ha-ha, jug. So I shop for a jug. Days, every gift shop in the country. Finally find this beautiful glass jug. Wrap it up beautifully. Well, the lady does it at the gift shop, because if I wrapped it, it'd spoil it. Wraps it up beautifully. Men, when you give a wife a gift, you don't just bowl up and say, oh, here's a present. Novice. Now I give her the gift. She opens it and says, where did you get that? That is the most disgusting jug I've seen in my life. You go past Vinnie's, they throw it in with the shoes. That is disgusting. Or she can say, oh wow. And when we have guests, plastic jar. Or she can say, oh. That's a way of saying, wow. Oh, for me. And when we have guests, the last thing she does, brings out the glass jar. And everybody says, oh, where did you get that? I'm down at the snow. It's minus 86. No, let's make it 6. Right. My wife and I went to Calgary. We got there, it was minus 26. I got out the car door and the moisture in my nose instantly froze. I thought I had a crinkle-cut chip up my nose. It's minus 6, it's freezing. And I've got this beautiful jacket on. Serious, this jacket is something else. It's got zip-out sleeves and zip-off collar and hood, music in the collar, a heat pack in the pocket. I mean, this jacket's serious. And I'm walking along my jacket, and here's this guy, freezing cold, wearing a singlet, walking his dog. So I think, this guy's going to die. He needs a jacket. I'll give him a jacket. Give, and it shall be given unto you. I wonder where mine is if he's still there. So let me give him a jacket. And he says, I don't want your jacket. No, stick your jacket. I like singlets. He can do that if he likes. Or he can say, oh wow, here, Wolf, puts it over the dog. Or he can say, what? For me? You kidding? Wow, it's so warm. Who are you? I've never met you before. Well, and as he walks off, he calls out, hey, and 5 other guys in singlets, come and check the jacket. I'm driving in my Volkswagen. This Volkswagen is class. The back doors keep swinging open, so I wire them shut, okay? The revision mirror fell off a long time ago, so I'll just leave it on the seat beside me as I drive her. I have no trouble people wondering where I am because I just follow the smoke. People don't realise when I stop, I've got to throw out an anchor. I've got to pump the brakes for about 4 k's. This is a serious car. I'm driving in my Volkswagen. I can't listen to music because it stopped working years ago. And people don't realise what I've got to do to wind the window down. Pick up the winder, put it on, wind it down. I'm driving along and there's this beep, beep, beep behind me. Oh, some clown wants my Volkswagen. Drive a bit more, beep, beep, beep. So I pick up the revision mirror and check it out. Some guy in a Jaguar. He's going beep, beep. He wants my Volkswagen, and I've got news for him. He doesn't realise what I've got to do to stop this thing. So I wait for a hill, because that's easier. And I finally pull over, and he pulls up in the Jag, and he hops out, and he gets his keys. And he says, "You, Mr. Fischer?" "Yeah." Holds me out the Jaguar keys. And I say, "Yeah." Are we on camera somewhere, are we? "Mr. Fischer?" "Hey, the Jaguar's yours. It's a gift for you." Nah, I like Volkswagens. Or I can say, "Oh, serious? Oh, cool." And I jump in, go down to my mates, we get a cold chisel and jump, punch in holes in the bonnet to make it look cool. Weld in a roll bar, go down to the stock car races and race around in the Jag. Or I can say, "Oh, wow. Who are you? I've never met you before." "Wow, for me." A few tears for the Volkswagen. Pick up old people, take them to church. A jug, a jacket, Jaguar, Jenny, Jill, Julie, Joe, Jack, John, Jesus. 3 ways that we can express our gratitude in the gift of love. We can say no. We can say no to the gift. Or we can say, "Oh yeah." Or we can say, "Wow." And I have to learn and remember when I get gifts from my wife Carol and from my kids in all sorts of shapes, I need to remember. I got to say, "Wow," and appreciate the gift for what it is. Some years ago, they did some research and study on families. They were looking for the signs of healthy families, and they studied 14,000 families over 25 years, 24 different countries. And they're looking for what appears to be the best things that families have. What are the characteristics that stand out? In our few moments this morning, I'd like to share with you the results. They found 6 common characteristics of healthy families. 24 countries, 14,000 families, 25 years. This is right across culture. So you might tend as well, this is just an Aussie study. No. 24 different countries. And it's fascinating because a number of characteristics emerged. And I want to suggest too that when you and I receive a gift, wouldn't it be neat if we could just let the giver know that we really appreciate their gift? Because when we do, we're saying something to the giver, maybe even more valuable than the gift itself. When someone gives us a gift, we say, "Wow, this is from the heart," and we acknowledge it as a gift. So what did they discover? Being a healthy family is more than being without problems. So you're sitting there saying, "I'm gone because a healthy family means one with no problems." No. They found that healthy families have lots of problems. Welcome to our family. Right. Carol lives with me, there's going to be problems. Okay. You didn't have to guess that, did you? To be a strong family isn't to be without challenges. It is much more. It is the presence of guidelines for living and the ability to deal effectively with life's inevitable challenges when they arise. So what are they? Here's number 1. 6 qualities of healthy families. Number 1, commitment. They discovered that healthy families have the gift of commitment. And I want to share with you now what are the 6 gifts that you and I can give to our marriages and families to make them very special, because we're now looking at what 14,000 families do. When I was a kid, there used to be ice cream trucks, Peter's ice cream trucks, and the big logo across the side was Health Food of a Nation. Peter's Ice, Health Food of a Nation. Well, hey, 400 trucks can't be wrong, right? They can be. But 14,000 families, 24 countries, 25 years. Commitment. They found commitment creates the warm, loving, accepting environment in which families grow. It offers a harbour that shelters family members from the destructive forces of fear, anxiety, rejection, and loneliness. And yesterday, Karen and I shared with you some of the things about loneliness. Commitment serves as the basis and foundation for all other qualities of healthy families. So the one that you and I need to make right at the very start is to make a commitment to our marriages and our families. And in fact, they found that at the heart of commitment to a family unit is the dedication to the marriage relationship. For those of you who are married today, and I recognise some of you aren't, that's cool. But for those of us who are married in our families, we need to make a good commitment to our marriage, to make it number one. The greatest gift a father can give his children is a happy marriage, said Kathy Simon. And I think she's a woman of wisdom. And we know that marriages aren't always easy. And we're staggered to think that Jesus took the marriage symbol as a statement of his love for the church. Isn't that amazing? If I were to be just overwhelmed, I read in Ephesians 5 where Paul said, "Husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her." I often have to ask myself, if people look on at my marriage, do they conclude that God must love deeply? It's a challenge. Commitment to each individual within the family. Each person forms a part of the family and each person is precious. Stene. This study was done by Nick and Nancy Stene. We met them. They came out to Australia, and also another couple, and their names have just gone. This kind of commitment helps everyone in the family feel worthwhile and secure. Members of strong families express their commitment to another, not just in words, but through investments of time and energy. We are committed to your kids, we're committed to each other, and they express that in a variety of ways. This commitment is active and obvious. It's not just in our head. We express it in ways that can be understood. Number 3, commit to putting first things first. Don't you hate this? This is pretty hard in our society and culture. We're always running around. For those of you who have your parents of children, juniors and teens, you know what it's like. There's football practice and hockey practice and dancing practice and ballet practice. That's for the boys. And there's, our boys do ballet. Some boys. Wasn't what I wanted. I just wasn't real keen on the tights. We need to put first things first. What's number one? Strong families realise that the family comes first and don't allow other aspects of life, no matter how important they seem, to dilute their commitment. No earthly goal or pursuit justifies losing one's family, for Stene. Number 4, commitment to honesty. Healthy families exhibit a commitment to speak the truth. They know they can rely on each other's word. As we shared in our workshop yesterday, honesty and trust is at the core of any key relationship. Whether we're single or married, a relationship that we build needs to have that real strong sense of trust. And if that sense of trust isn't there, it's very, very difficult to build intimacy and love in a long-term relationship. So that commitment to honesty. To commitment to family traditions, this might surprise you. In these studies, they found that healthy families had a lot of traditions and little rituals. And it might come up again later in our little presentation, but I want you to realise family traditions serve an important role in family cohesiveness. This forms the family glue, and I can see a couple of you out there in our congregation this morning, thank you, who I know your families a little bit. You had family traditions, I remember some of them. And as kids, when our kids were growing up, Kelly and Jaith, Friday night, as an Adventist people, Friday night's a bit special, isn't it? And Friday night, they decided that they didn't want tea in any light at all. It had to be pitch black, had to be dark as, and I mean serious dark. So any light under the door had to be socks. What do you call those sausage things that just stop the breeze? The wind sausage, whatever, and blankets, Carol's nightie, anything at all. And sorry, darling, I don't think they ever used your nightie, did they? They should have. Would have worked. I'm going to be in trouble later. I'll just put on the whole armour of God. Okay. And then we'd have tea in the dark. Except they have these little floaty candles. You know those little candles? And they'd light those. And I'd say to Carol, my tea's here somewhere, just not real sure. Yep, there it is. It's spaghetti. And there it is, it's spaghetti. But it was special. Who cares about the spaghetti? It's special. And they were little memories for the kids, and they did that for years. Remember hearing about this father. Didn't have a lot of money, and he saved. He and his wife saved all year to take their teenage boys to the snow. And he shared the story. He said, when my kids were growing up, my friends would come around and say, hey, Bob, come and have a look at the new car. And he'd think, I wished I had a new car. Come around and have a look at the house extension. Come and have a look at the swimming pool. And he said, I often used to think, well, it'd be neat, but we just couldn't. But we went to the snow. It's costly. We went to the snow. And then he shared something interesting. He said, when the boys were 19, 20, 21, 22, my friends would come round to our house and say, look at your kids, they're still here, and they're happy, they got their friends, and they're sharing all these crazy stories about the snow. I've got no idea where my kids are. My kids don't come back and say, do you remember that new car you bought, Dad? They don't really mention a lot about the roof extension or the home extension. They're all good, but family traditions, we can't afford to minimise what they mean for cohesion and tying the family together. So if you have some little fun things you do at home, if you have a party, like a birthday, celebrate it. I know some families don't. Well, what about make something up, okay? Whip up a cake, fellas, guys. It's easy, it's all on the net. WikiHow, type it in. How to cook a sponge cake, everything's there. If it fails, blame somebody else and have another crack. Just go and buy one at a shop. And then say, no, you can't do that. But have some rituals, right? Celebrate events. When your adolescent kids do well at school, celebrate it. Find their anchors, Events like that act as anchors. My uncle and his wife, in their 70s, were holidaying up the north coast of Australia some years ago. A willy-willy came through. If there's anybody who isn't Australian, you ask the person beside you what a willy-willy is. Kind of little mini tornado. And it cut a sway through this caravan park where my uncle and auntie were staying in a caravan. And as my uncle heard this noise coming, he wasn't sure what it was. He stepped out, and as he stepped out, it hit. Tipped the caravan upside down. My auntie was asleep on the back seat. It threw her out the window. She broke her neck and died. And my uncle just lived for his wife, Mary. They were a beautiful couple, and he mourned and mourned her. Missed her terribly. About 12 months later, my dad, also in his 70s, and my uncle Eddie went off fishing together up the north coast. My dad tells the story how they were out in the tinny, the little boat, not far from the bay, the edge of the sand. And all of a sudden, my uncle Eddie said, quick, Bob, row. And my dad's looking around, shark, tsunami, what's the problem? Still water, nothing. Quick, Bob, row. And Eddie was just grabbing the oars and rowing, so Dad helped him and they rowed back to the beach. And Eddie, on his 70-year-old legs, ran up the beach, reached into the tent and got these fairly large ropes and started roping the tent and banging in pegs to rope down the tent. And my dad said, that's when I first realised a breeze had blown up. It was interesting. He lost his wife in a wind. He wasn't about to lose anything else. He was roping it down. And in life, we need anchors. If you and I are sitting in a little boat out in the bay and it's calm water, we're happy as a spark. We don't even think about an anchor, right? But as soon as a little breeze comes up, and if it starts getting tossed and tossed, the more it tosses, the more we think of anchors, the more we look for anchors, and we'll throw anything out as an anchor. If our wife's there, tie ropes. No, don't throw it. We want anchors, right? We've got to steady this thing. And interesting enough, little rituals and traditions seem to act as anchors for us. So when things get tough, we've got these memories of good times. And we need little anchors in our life, and traditions do that for us. Commitment to family traditions. Okay, family traditions build an awareness of the unique and loving bond of each family member to the others. Commitment to the long haul. We're in this for the long journey. Strong families clearly reveal that the commitment is for the life of the family. Healthy families have an expectation that their family will endure. Number 2, the second sign they found. 24 countries, 14,000 families, 25 years, they express affection and appreciation. Now, some of you might all of a sudden be really nervous. This is not my language. We're all different in this. We're all on a bit of a scale. I remember a young girl that used to be at my church when I was a youth worker. She was on one end of imagine a line, a continuum, and she was way over here. And when it came to expressing affection and appreciation, she was here at the edge of the line. If I saw her walking along the street in the town that I lived, if I saw her on that side of the street, I would dive into the nearest shop on this side and pray that it wasn't a hotel. Because if she saw me, that was it. Oh, Pastor Tra! And she'd run down the road and cross the street and hug me in the street and dance around. Pastor Tra, Pastor Tra. It's embarrassing. Pastor. Huh? She was so out there. You just knew exactly how she felt. She didn't have to tell you, you saw it. And then you get other people, right? Here. You give them a hug, and it's like hugging a fence post. I know a lady like that, lovely lady. I nickname her Paul. Lovely to see you. We're all different. And we all find different ways of expressing. Some of us love to hug and touch. Talked to a lady just recently, just last Sabbath. Beautiful lady. She lost a husband of many years. They were just a fabulous couple. And he died. And I was sitting beside her at lunch. Karen and I were there for lunch. And I turned to her and I said, "You must miss him terribly." And she said, "Oh," just rolled her eyes. And I said, "I bet you miss his hugs." And she said, "Trafford, we were a huggy couple and I yearn and long for a hug." We miss that touch. And hugs and touch, we all express our affection differently. We've got to do it. We've got to find a way of doing that. They found this. Expressions of appreciation, affection permeated relationships within strong families. They let each other know on a daily basis that each is appreciated. Healthy families express appreciation and affection. I value you, I treasure you, I love you, let me hug you and hold you. A blend of both intellect and emotion. We need to find ways of doing that. Express often, you are a person of worth and dignity. I am interested in you and I am aware of your positive qualities. I affirm who you are as well as what you have done. We need to remember this. I know all you do as parents. I wished I'd remembered more faithfully, but sometimes we say to our kids, "Oh, honey, you've done such a great job of that. You're such a good girl." And we attach being a good girl to what they did, right? And the kids get the idea, as long as I do stuff, I'm going to be okay. We need to say to our kids, "Honey, you're just beautiful." Period. It's unconditional stroke, right? We don't attach conditions. We need to let our kids know, "Honey, you're just number one in this family. You're just a beautiful girl. I'm just so proud to have you as my daughter. Every time I see you, I've got to get my shirt stitched up because I've just busted the buttons. You're just a beautiful girl." Find ways of letting our kids know they're special, and our wives and husbands, of course. We've got to find ways of expressing that apart from what they do. Appreciation and affection are so crucial to strong families, but not everyone knows how to express them in productive and beneficial ways. This is Stene's material from the study. So how do we do that? Dig for diamonds. You know, when you and I go diamond searching, diamond hunting, we go up there to Emerald, Queensland somewhere. Do you see the size of those trucks? They're massive, huge trucks. And that huge scoop digs in this huge amount of dirt and puts it in this huge truck, and this huge truck drives off to this huge place and sorts through all the dirt. Some diamonds. And you and I could go to the diamond mine and say, "Oh, look at all that dirt. Wow, you're carting all that dirt." And we could spend all day talking about the dirt. The diamond miner would just smile and say, "You've missed the diamond." And I've discovered in my family, sometimes I'm so busy checking out the dirt, I miss the diamond. "Oh, look at all that dirt." We find faults and difficulties in our families. Dig for diamonds. Search for the good. Search for the shiny. And let them know how much you've had. Affirm your children verbally. Expect children to be affectionate and appreciative. Kids do that so well, don't they? It's kind of fun. I often thought in our Aussie culture, we're all kind of different, but kids naturally just hug and jump around and have joy, and then somebody say, "Cut that out, it's no me," huh? And we kind of can some of that stuff, and I don't know, it's interesting. Share humour and playfulness. Again, we do this differently. There was an English professor at university who was always very serious. And if people say, staff would say, lighten up, tell a joke. So he went off to lectures with a joke book. The joke for today is... All right, let's start the lecture. Have some fun in the house. Have some fun with the kids. Play some tricks. Be careful, OH&S, but you know. Got to have some fun. Sometimes we take life a bit too serious. And we've got to have some fun. Have lots of play, lots of laughs. I was going to give some illustrations, but I'd get into trouble. Purposely encourage affection and appreciation. Purposely encourage affection and appreciation. All right, and accept expressions of appreciation, grace. See, there's the gift thing again. When kids give us a hug, say, honey, that's beautiful. When they bring us brekkie, isn't it fabulous when the kids get brekkie in bed for you? You can smell the toast burning from 4 blocks away, The alarm goes off and you think, And they bring in this brekkie, and serious, it's sketty, and an egg that's kind of, really didn't make it to the fry pan, and toast that's black. What we can't afford to do is say, kids, that's horrible, and say, oh, wow, for me, this is beautiful, shut your eyes. This is fabulous, put it on Facebook, look what my kids did for brekkie. Put some cheese over the burnt toast, no one's going to know. Okay, number 3, communicate positively. That means we communicate negatively. Oh, don't we? Communicate positively. The Lord's given us one mouth and 2 ears, and we get the order mixed up. And we speak lots and we don't listen well. Yeah. And there's some basic things about communication. You can learn these. There's skills that we need to be taught. See, when you and I were kids, we learned to talk, right? But we didn't learn to communicate. That's a skill that we have to learn. And we learnt from our mum and dad, and who taught them, grandma and grandpa, and who taught them, their parents, and we just keep the ball rolling. It's fascinating watching 2 people have an argument. Have you noticed that? I know you don't. I appreciate that. But you watch 2 people have an argument. They start getting a bit energised in the argument. That's good. What happens to their level of voice? They keep getting louder and louder. Why? Because the person has shifted away? No. Same distance. Well, if you just really took, well, what do you think, mate? Well, our next thing, it's, they're having a shouting match. They haven't moved. It would be understandable if they walked outside of the garage, but they're still there. Isn't that funny? It's it's rather crazy. I call it more of the same rule. See, if I have a hammer and I'm a mechanic, and you bring your car to me and you say, Traff, can you fix my car? Sure, mate, just open the bonnet. I get the hammer, pow, pow, pow. Try that. Hasn't fixed it. And I've only got a hammer. All I can do is hit it harder. Bow, bow, I try that. Oh, hang on, I'll just get the sledgehammer. See, if we've got some tools in the toolbox, we can do the job. And I'm convinced a lot of couples struggle in their relationship because they don't have the tools to do the job. No one's taught them. So they struggle along with what they've been given, and it's ineffective tools to do the job. And so we need to learn to communicate positively. This is not a workshop, but good communication helps to promote mental health, build belonging, and ease family frustrations by increasing the family's ability to deal with problems that are going to emerge. And we need the tools to do the job. Allow enough time. Here's just a few. Allow enough time. We often try and rush. And we shared at our workshop yesterday. Research has shown that you and I respond emotionally to something that we see twice as quick as we start thinking about it. Right? So even we think we're thinking about the issue and talking about it, we are already emotionally triggered, and we respond in our emotions, often anger and frustration. So we need some loud time to do it. Number 2, we need to listen really well. We need to switch our ears on and say, hey, I really want to listen and listen well. Men, we can do this. We've got to remember, men, that when ladies share something with us, and they will, ladies have 20,000 different words they use in a day. Words, body signs, raised eyebrows, 20,000. Men, you and I have only got 12. Research. So at the end of the day, we've run out. They've got 8,000 left. Brace yourself. When you go home, she's got 8,000 left. It'll kill you. But hang in, you can survive. All you got to do is listen really well. See, us men think we've got to fix things. Men give it away. Good news, you don't have to fix it. When your wife shares information, chill. Serious. See, we're so tuned to fix it. She tells you something, oh, she's giving me that, I've got to fix it. No, good news. All you got to do is listen. It's easy. Just say things like, You can do that. Oh. Ooh. So you can practice that after you. Another one's, It's easy. But if you pretend you're a goner, you got to be real. She'll pick you real fast. You aren't listening. Yes, I am. Some time back, Carol was in the kitchen. It was an L-shaped kind of kitchen bench. I knew it well because I spent so much time there. She was on the phone on the other side talking, and I think she's talking to her sisters. Pretty heavy conversation. You know, you don't sort of get involved. I'm a man. I can do one job at a time. I think I'll take the rubbish out to the big bin. You know the little plastic rubbish bag under the sink? I know you've all got them. You know it exactly. So I thought, I'm going to do the rubbish. As I start to walk off, she puts the phone down. I should have thought then, get ready, but I didn't. I'm doing the rubbish, right? One thing. I'm a man, I'm focused on the rubbish. She starts telling me a bit about the conversation. I know as a man I've got to listen. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I came back out and she's standing there. I knew straight away I should have stayed out there. She said, what do you think you're doing? Rubbish? What do you think you're doing? Rubbish. You aren't listening. Men, don't do this if you want to live a long life. Right? I said, I am. I was listening. She said, no, you're not. I said, yeah. In fact, I can tell you the last sentence you said, and I said that. Ooh. What she meant to say was this: you're not giving me your full attention. There's a new phrase for you, ladies. Practice that. Your husband will love you for it. So if you say to him, you're not listening, you'll say, I was. Right? How am I doing, man? I was. And we were. We had our ears on, but we weren't really hearing it. We weren't giving it full attention. Men, put the plastic back, put the rubbish down. It'll survive for a couple of minutes there and say, oh, it's terrible. Wow. And if you really want to score some good points, say this: how did you feel about that? You will stop her in her tracks. She'll be on Facebook, my husband loves me. I have a winner. So you can learn this stuff. Check it out, get it right. It's hard, but you'll get there. Get inside the other person's world, keep it kind and respectful, and keep it honest. Fun stuff. All right, a few more suggestions from John Gottman. Our workshop people will know this one. Keep a gentle tone of voice. The Bible says a soft answer turns away wrath. We start getting louder and louder and louder. See, why we get louder is simply because we think the other person's not listening, right? They're not listening. They're not saying, oh, I heard, yes, I get what you mean. We say, no. And so we feel as if we've got to get louder. We think, if I talk louder, they will listen. But it doesn't work because they just talk louder back. Next thing you think, gee, they're not listening. I'm really shouting. That saucepan's going to work. Yeah, and he finds the bigger saucepan, you're in trouble. When he finds the fry pan, run. See, we break the rules. So a gentle answer. Number 2, listen to understand, not just to give advice. Number 3, encourage all family members to share what they are thinking and feeling. It's a wonderful thing to do. And remember the 5-to-1 principle we shared with you earlier. Every time you mess it up, you need 5 positive to outweigh the effect of it. Conflict, deal with conflicts as quick as you can. Deal with one issue at a time. Don't bring up what happened 4 months ago or 7 weeks ago. Try and focus on one. And be specific as much as you can. No generalizations, all right? Avoid the word you, and especially those words like always, never. They're not true. You can't honestly say you always, you never. If you work real hard, you'll think of at least one when they weren't, right? Skip you and go to I. I am upset, I'm angry, I'm not feeling real good just now, rather than saying you. See, I can't honestly say to Carol, you make me mad. That's my choice. If I'm driving in my car and somebody cuts me off, I start, beat, you bitch, and we go crook. He's just totally, he hasn't even realised that he's cut me off. And I'm angry and I'm looking around for eggs to throw and stuff. Who's got the problem? I'm the one getting angry. And it's really inaccurate to say, you make me mad. Okay, we've done 3 and it's 11 o'clock. I'm in trouble. Okay, become allies. You're on the same side. Open up understanding. Let's go quick. Spend time together. It's tough in this world to spend time. We've got to find time to be together. And this is a real struggle for families, and I recognise that. Try and do it as much as you can. Shared family time gives you a chance to talk and discuss things together. Combat isolation and loneliness. It helps provide a family identity, and it nurtures family connections. So when you're doing things, the Bible says talk to your kids when they're lying down, when you hop up, and when you're on the road. In other words, share the things of God and life whenever you can. Share meal times. Seriously, the research is coming out now that's showing that families who spend at least one meal time together a day are way in front of families that don't. And there's a really neat little clip, I haven't got time to show, but this little clip where this guy's invented, according to a little YouTube clip, he invented this little tool that shut down all iPads, iPhones, and everything, and anything with I and the telly, and shut them down, right? And so it shows these kids and mum, they're all on the iPads and around the tea table, and he goes click and everything goes, and the kids go nuts. They just go berserk. Telly's not working, the iPad's not working, they start throwing them all, and he just kind of sits there and then they start talking, they actually enjoy a mealtime together. It's kind of fun. All right, do housework and yard play together, worship and socialise, find time to spend events, and keep it fun. Steno, healthy families give generously of their lives to each other, and that is one important reason why they stay strong. We're going to skip this one because you do this, encourage and nurture spiritual well-being. It's interesting, this study, 24 countries, not all Christian families by a long shot, 14,000 families. And they all reported, the healthy ones said, we have this spiritual connection. Interesting. And that has been shown in other world studies. There's something about having a spiritual connection that's important to people. It ties them together. So we're going to go this. Just even though not all the strong families in the Family Strengths Research Project share the Christian faith, it's amazing that the need for spirituality and a belief in a higher power was evident in them all. And you and I, that makes sense to us. We know it's not good that man should be alone. You and I were designed to connect with God, and when that's not happening, we know we're operating at less than optimum, and that makes sense to us. Okay, so we'll skip those, and the last one is this one. Cope with stress and crisis. And isn't this interesting, because we sort of feel, well, healthy families aren't going to have stress and crisis. No, healthy families have crisis. And by saying what I'm about to say doesn't mean I'm a healthy family, but we face crisis. My younger brother died at 45 of Alzheimer's disease. And I sat beside him on the last day of his life, the last weekend, and watched as the lights went out, held his hand as he died. My dad, I sat beside him, and as a family we gathered round as my dad died. How do you deal with that? And each of us face all sorts of stresses and crises. And we need to develop the strategies and skills to deal with those in a healthy kind of way. Strong families have discovered some important insights into dealing with stress. Try to keep things in perspective. Seek strength from God. Focus on something bigger than yourself. Make use of humour. Have some fun. Take one step at a time. Refresh and restore. And worry has been likened to a rocking chair. You make a lot of motion but don't get anywhere. And we all do a lot of that, don't we? Yeah. Let's just summarise. See the roses among the thorns. Work together with each other's strengths. Seek help. It's a sign of strength. People, can I just quickly dive in and share with you? Marriage therapists and family psychologists, etc., agree that most couples and families come and get help 5 to 7 years too late. If you and I are in this hall and the lights start blinking, we don't say, oh, this is embarrassing. We've got to go to an electrician. Yeah. If our car starts blowing smoke, we don't, oh dear, this is embarrassing. And we quietly go off to the mechanic and say, you fix the car. No, we bowl up and hey mate, my car's... But when we break down, we'll struggle on. No. The research is clear as a bell. Healthy families admit to and seek help with problems. Isn't that good news? So when you're working hard at life, we all get stuck. And we need someone to come in and say, have you thought about this? No. And open up some doors and windows for us. Use your support network, very valuable. Open up channels of communication and go with the flow, according to Stene, adaptability and flexibility. All right, here they are. Number 1, commitment. Number 2, express appreciation and affection. Number 3, communicate positively. Number 4, spend time together. Number 5, encourage spiritual well-being. And 6, cope with stress and crisis. You're a beautiful group of people. It's been fun, and thank you. I hope it's been helpful. I'm going to ask God to bless you as we finish. Lord, we thank you so much for inviting us to be your children, your sons and daughters. We thank you, Lord, that we're members of your family, and you invite us to say, our Father. And we know what sort of Father you are. We aren't in doubt about that, because you said clearly, if you want to see God, see me. So we know what God's like in Jesus, and Jesus loved people. And there's that fabulous text in Scripture that says, tax collectors and other notorious sinners often sat at Jesus' feet. So we know what sort of God you are as a Father. And we thank you, Lord, for the privilege of being your family members. We look forward to staying in your family and in our own families, experiencing the love and joy and fun that it can be. And we pray that our marriages and families will be loud symbols and statements of your love for us in every way. And we pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.